Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about a 2016 movie called Lady Macbeth. A young girl named Catherine is married off to a man much older than her. Before going to bed, a maid named Anna takes care of the girl. Left alone, Catherine waits for her husband, who enters the room and immediately makes it clear that the girl will stay at home all the time and not go out. After Alexander demands to take off her shirt, Catherine bares herself, after which the men turn off the light and go to bed. In the morning, sitting on the windowsill, the girl looks out the window, so the first day of her new life flies by. A day later, the next morning, Tano comes to Catherine's room to open the shutters on the windows. Catherine is very bored with such a gray, sophisticated life. Because of the girl's entertainment, there is only a window with a view of nature, as well as a fireplace for which Catherine constantly falls asleep. From this lifestyle, the girl quickly gets tired. Without waiting for the end of dinner, Catherine goes to her room, which Boris, Alexander's father, does not like. And what does Mons say to Catherine, demanding that the girl stay awake and wait for her husband in the bedroom? Catherine is followed by Anna, who Boris orders to follow up on his request. After a while, a drunk Alexander appears in the room, demanding that Catherine take off her shirt and sit next to the fireplace. Facing the wall as her husband demands, Catherine hears the sound of trousers unbuttoning behind her. After that, Alexander begins to work with his own hands. In the morning, Catherine asks Boris where her husband has gone. According to the old man, an explosion occurred in one of the mines owned by the family, where Alexander went. Boris is also going to London tomorrow on business, therefore, the girls will have to be alone in the manor for some time. As soon as the old man left the house, Catherine Tudge went outside, breathing fresh air for the first time in a long time. In the morning, Anna, another maid, leaves the house, and Catherine, as usual, falls asleep in front of the fireplace but wakes up to screams from outside. In the idea from home, the girl hears a voice from under construction. Upon entering, Catherine discovers farm workers and Anna, wrapped in a sheet, hanging in the middle of the room. Sebastian, showing Anna, says that they are weighing pigs. Catherine orders the girl to be released, after which she informs, since they spent Alexander's time and money on this entertainment, the girl will now look after them. Returning from the house, Catherine finds out the name of a daring employee who only recently came to them. In the morning, the girl goes for a walk, meeting Sebastian again. Catherine ignores his words about being at home in the other direction, smiling at him. As night falls, the girl hears a stack at the door. Opening it, Catherine discovers Sebastian, who says that he is dying of boredom. The girl tries to close the door, but the guy enters her room. Having cornered Catherine, Sebastian tries to kiss her, but the girl pushes the guy away, after which she pounces on him with kisses, having been tortured by a man's raft. This is the first morning in this house when a girl woke up happy. From that day on, they constantly meet surreptitiously with Sebastian, satisfying their details, collecting their belongings in the early morning. She meets Sebastian walking the dogs. The girl hints that his secret meetings with the hostess may end badly, but in response she receives only threats. As night falls, Sebastian comes to Catherine again, and the maid sees through the keyhole. In the morning, Tano enters Catherine's room. Opening the doors, she announces that Lester Sr. has returned from a trip to London. At dinner, Boris asks Tano to bring him champagne, which Catherine drank in the absence of men. Without revealing her mistress, the maid is humiliated by Lester Sr., who forces the girl to stand on all fours like a beast. After discovering Catherine's identity, Boris goes to Sarah, where he beats up Sebastian and then orders him to be locked up. Upon learning about this, Catherine demands that the old man release the employee, for which Lester gets slapped in the face. Their next mess ends with Boris having a hard time doing it. Catherine supports the door with a tool. After that, the girl asks Tana to sit next to her, as she does not like to dine alone, starting to ask the maid and her family. Boris starts knocking on the door, saying that he is unwell, but Catherine orders Tana to sit and not open the door. As soon as the screams and knocks subside, Catherine sends the maid to get a doctor, and she offends Sarah, where she locks the door. The doctor who arrived can only confirm the death of Lester Sr. Some time later, Catherine receives a letter from Alexander, who can't come to his father's funeral. The girl is sure that Alexander has not seen his father, and this is the reason for himself. After burying Lester Sr., Catherine almost openly begins dating a guy. And the maids are discussing the death of the master, in which Anna blames herself because that day Boris ate the mushrooms that the girl collected, and for which Anna was speechless. Catherine tells Bastin about this. I assure her that the maid will not be able to tell the master anything because of her illness. The girl confesses her love to the guy, saying that as long as she is alive, she will never part with him, and she would follow him anywhere, even to the next world. One night, Catherine wakes up to a noise. I look out the window, and the girl notices Alexander's horse from below. Having woken up all the Basti, Catherine sends him to the back room, and she begins to wait for her husband, informing him that she was pulled by the sounds of a horse. Looking at Catherine, Alexander notices that she has noticeably grown round, not what she was before his departure. The girl goes to get tea, after drinking which Alexander admits that the rumors about the girl's infidelities reached him. Why is Bastin threatening to get caught? Since Alexander knows everything, Catherine goes to the back room to get the guy, whom she puts down to cover, removing from him that Catherine will put a bead on Alexander's eye. Having lost his temper, Lester hits the girl, after which he begins to fight with Bastin. But Catherine, grabbing a rope, kills her husband, whose lifeless body Bastin buries in the forest. To cover up the traces of Alexander's return, Catherine takes her husband's horse into the woods, where she kills the animal. Since then, Bastin has been learning to run amok, but Catherine claims that Alexander himself wanted to kill the guy, but they beat him to it. Now they have the right to live a happy life, which is violated a few days later by a woman named Agnes. She brings a boy named Teddy to Catherine's house, telling him that he is the son and heir of Lester Jr., who dated Teddy's mom, which Catherine can't believe, but Agnes has the stock documents to prove it. Bastin believes that the woman is messing up about Teddy, since only his hand could get pregnant from Alexander. With the boy's presence in the house, Bastin refuses to date Catherine. If they get spotted, the guy will have to leave, so while Teddy is here, Catherine will have to forget about meetings. Watching the boy and the maid play in the morning, Catherine notices Bastin walking with a sleigh. The girl runs outside, where Teddy begins to molest her, whom Catherine pushes away, and for which the boy runs away in tears. That's not how Bastin spoke, and Catherine returns to her room, where later the maid arrives, informing them that they can't find Teddy. With all their personnel, they go to look for the boy, whom Bastin walks around like a waterfall. Looking at the boy and the stormy river, a fishing plan is maturing in the guy's head, but conscience still takes over. Bastin carries Teddy into the house, where he begins to be scolded by a hypnotist, asking the guy to bring the boy a blanket, as he was very blown away. Unwilling to be humiliated, Bastin is about to leave on the spot, telling Catherine about the perfect opportunity to cut out the heir of the Alistairs, which he did not use, but Catherine asks him to wait. Entering the room where Agnos is on duty by Teddy's bed, he tells Catherine to let the woman sleep, and she will look after the boy in the meantime. When Agnos leaves, Catherine lets Bastin into the room through the window, with which they get rid of the little heir. Sitting next to Teddy, Catherine waits for dawn until Anna appears in the room. At the same time, the feeling of a Winu Bastin is floating over the grave of Alexander Lester. After that, she rushes to the manor, where Catherine deceives the doctor that she has fallen asleep, and when I woke up, Teddy was already dead. Pointing to the boy's fresh blue eyes, the doctor asks Catherine if anyone could have entered the room while the girl was sleeping. At this moment, Bastin runs away, who confesses to the crime, betraying Catherine at the same time, telling the doctor and the detective about the murders of Alexander and Boris Alistrov, whom Catherine poisoned with mushrooms. The girl denies it, saying that Anna always collected mushrooms and Bastin went to the forest with a lawn every morning. It is possible that Anna poisoned Lester the Elder, because one day before that the old man had severely beaten Bastin and tortured him in the barn. Anna can refute if this is not the case. But after the death of Boris Alyosha, her husband lost the gift of bitterness, and she can't refute anything from the witness. That's why Anna and Bastin are exiled to Katarga. After that, the rest of the servants leave the manor, leaving the pregnant Catherine alone in the house. That's where the movie ends. Thanks for watching, and see you on the channel.